Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. In this guide, I am talking about Nagoriyuki, and I am talking specifically the blood gauge. Because simply put, if you do not really fully understand how this works, you probably shouldn't waste your time with this character, because you're just going to get very frustrated very often. So knowledge is power, so let's talk about every aspect of this mechanic. So first thing to say is every single one of Nagoriyuki's special moves, except his command grab, that's Blood-Sucking Universe, every single one of these raises the blood gauge. And it is equal, actually. So say his teleport will raise it basically 1/2 bar before it goes down. Same thing here with his slashes. Same thing here with his slashes. It is the same amount, as you can see. Same with the low hit, and same with his projectile. So no matter what, it fills effectively 1/2 of 1 bar. So this means you effectively have about 6 moves you can do without lowering your bar in any way, shape, or form before you go berserk. So 5 teleports in, and when you know it, we're almost there, right? And 1 more teleport over the line, and that will take us to the berserk state. Now, there is a lot of ways to manage this, and we'll talk about it in the video. But first, just to briefly speak, what is the berserk state and why do you want to avoid it? Well, the berserk state is what you see here, where Nagoriyuki is kind of lose his mind, and he's going to lose a lot. He's going to lose all of his special moves. His health, as you can see above him, is draining wildly. He's going to lose about half his health from the state here. And he just becomes an incredibly limited character. Now, yes, to be fair, in this state, some things get better. Like his normals here, specifically his sword normals, get better. They get more range. And yes, he gets the new fancy super that does a lot of damage, as you can see here, right? There's even some fun bonuses, like his normals here do a lot of chip damage, as you can see here. Way in excess of normal. And chip can kill in this game, FYI. But still, it is generally to be avoided for a few reasons. One, you're going to lose an incredible amount of your health. Like, that's reason number 1 with a bullet, really. This health loss cannot be avoided. The only way to avoid it is to end the state. Either manually ending it by doing your super move or waiting for it to end normally. So you're going to lose a lot of health, and if you're trying to end it quick, you're going to be putting yourself in a disadvantageous situation. And there's also the simple fact of the activation of the move. If it whiffs, you're done. You just stand still and the enemy can do whatever they want to you. Now, if you are closer to the enemy, it will cause a bit of a guard break state, and for the most part, most characters can't reach with a fast enough button. However, depending on the character and depending on the situation, it is truly punishable. So you really, really need to watch out, because even if you get off and force them to block it, it's not a guarantee you're safe. So all in all, except for desperation situations, it's to be avoided. It's a penalty for a reason. So to showcase the power of the blood gauge, right? And yeah, there's a lot of negatives and all that, sure. But the big positive is it lets you do anything for the most part. It's complete freedom as far as just general gameplay goes, because everything can go into everything. So say normally it'll go like hit into your special move, right? Simple enough. But you can go special move into a special move into a special move, which is something you normally can't do, and that's the real power of this. Then all of a sudden, when it comes to basic combo structure, we can do multiple specials into multiple specials, and that helps us with our corner carry. And obviously that did a fair chunk of damage, right? So just being able to do anything and anything. So I can go for, you know, like low party starter into my uppercut, cancel the first hit of the uppercut, which is a launcher, into my teleport, and then go from there for combo ability. Then all of a sudden, those 3 specials combined, we can put them all together, and that helps our combo. So you have total freedom, so it's amazing. That's the true power of this, but obviously there's the consequences. So that all said, mostly downsides, a few upsides, but overall to be avoided. And how do we do that, right? Well, the easy answer number one is the blood gauge will over time slowly, and I mean slowly, go down by itself. As you can see, it's just taking its sweet time getting there, right? Now, thankfully, there are ways to mitigate this. The biggest one, is the command grab. So if you take a bite, it'll fulfill that bloodlust, and as you can see here, it's starting to drain at a big rate. And even if you, say, raise it up just a little bit, it'll go up a bit, but it's going to drastically drain back fast again, right? So keeping the blood gauge low, the fastest way to do it is indeed through the command grab. And also, it gains you a little bit of life as well. It doesn't do too much damage. In fact, it does less damage than your basic throw. So if you're looking to, end a round, go for the throw. It does more damage, right? This is purely a utility command grab. But the utility is very strong because it keeps that blood gauge low. But besides that, there are more ways to lower the blood gauge, and that is specifically through using your sword, your slash attacks, and your heavy slash attacks. And this could be standing, crouching, jumping, doesn't matter. Now, when you hit the enemy, you might notice there's a little bit of blood coming in, right? It applies to all these sword-based attacks, and that helps lower your gauge. So here, I'll do 2 quick teleports. So I have roughly 1 bar filled up now, right? If I do slash, for a brief moment, it'll drain just a little bit quicker. Now, I know it didn't look like much, but let's do heavy slash. And now, as you can see, it's quite a bit more noticeable to drain, because we're getting in 3 units of blood versus 1. And effectively, 3 units of blood is, for lack of a better term here, half a bar as well. So let's do our projectile. And doing it over the course of the fill-up here, it takes us to 1 bar, right? But if we were to do our heavy slash first and then into the projectile, it's nearly free. As you can see here, it goes up a little bit and going right back down, right? Heavy slash into, say, a teleport. Same deal here. Our blood usage is much lower. And if we actually manage to get the hit, it counts as bonus blood, for lack of a better term. And then all of a sudden, our next usage is effectively free. We are effectively positive blood gauge. Now, if we did, 2 things in a row here, like a projectile and a teleport, then yeah, it'll raise up, right? But only to about half a gauge. So effectively only the cost of 1 move instead of 2. So hitting people with your sword attacks is very beneficial to lowering the blood gauge. And it does not matter if it's on hit or block, although a little bit more on hit. And the heavy attacks give you a lot more reward than the slash attacks. Now keep in mind, just FYI, this is the main sword. So if you do close slash and do this is a different sword. It's not the main sword. So you do not get any use of blood from it. But everything else here, crouch slash, jump slash, regular slash, the heavies, all that kind of stuff, they all bring in a lot more blood. And bringing in more blood means, effectively, you have more time to go crazy when you need it, right? Either, quickly traversing the whole of the screen, or just, dumping on a very big combo. You want to keep your gauge low for being able to go crazy, whatever it may be, when you need it. So just keep that in mind. Blocked attacks are beneficial to you. Even though it doesn't seem like you're getting too far ahead, as long as you're bringing in that blood, you're lowering the gauge, and then you can just go completely nuts later on in the match. Now, important notes here about the blood gauge as well. So if I do 4 teleports here, of course it'll fill up, right? But you can stop the fill before it gets all the way there, and there's a few ways to do it. One is the command grab. As soon as you land the command grab, no matter how much more was to be filled, it will stop and immediately start draining. So once again, the command grab, very valuable for the character. Also, his super. If you manage to land the hit, the blood gauge will stop. Now, you're not going to get a bonus for regeneration or whatever, but say you went a little too crazy and you're about to go berserk, doing the super will halt the blood gauge exactly where it is, no matter what, so it can be a lifesaver. Now, keep in mind, it does have to hit. So if you do it here, it'll stop for a second, but if you whiff, well, then it's going to keep going up, as you can see there, right? So make sure you hit with it, but still, Using it at the end of a long combo can prevent you from going berserk and still letting you get those extra hits in, right? So it might be exactly what the doctor ordered just to close out a round. And just a few commonly asked questions here. No, you cannot Roman cancel the berserk activation. It's gonna happen no matter what. And no, you cannot combo out of it into the big super. It'd be nice if it could happen, but unfortunately, it is not how it works. Once again, it is pretty much meant to be a penalty for the fact that he has such open combo structure and such open utility. Like, for example here, he is a character that can be effectively plus on block whenever he wants to be. It's always his turn if he so chooses it, and it only costs you 1 blood bar. So just do your projectile and cancel into a teleport. And here, as you can see here, Kai is just trying to jab us out, right? But the problem with this is this. It's totally our turn when that happens. So, yeah, the ability to have it be your turn whenever you want, big deal. So, since it costs 1 gauge, I guess you can say effectively he can only do it 3 times in a row. But still, it's a massively powerful ability, and, you know, let alone the fact that technically, yes, he can't run or jump, but for brief spurts, if he so cares to be, he's effectively the fastest character in the game, right? So, that, the combo ability, the utility, all these things, this is why it is the way it is. You get brief spurts of massive power, but you have to manage it. That all said, I hope you understand the mechanic better now, but just because you can go crazy doesn't mean you should. You go too crazy on a combo, well then you go berserk, but once again, using some of the tricks we taught you, so right here, just before I was about to go berserk, because I was going to go berserk, I do the super, and it'll save my bacon. So I'm still left with a lot of blood gauge, but you know what, hey, that did a lot of damage. And just another thing to note is try to do combos with like a lot of, you know, heavy slashes in them, right? Because they can just really help minimize the blood gauge. Like right here, that was a sizable chunk of damage. And roughly after the blood return, we're just a little bit under half a gauge, right? So, you can combo as much as you want. That's the freedom of this character, but just do it smartly, otherwise you might go a little bit crazy. Anyways, my friends, that is the guide on managing the blood rage for Nagoriyuki. Very interesting character, very interesting mechanic. Allows for total freedom, but with a price. So now that you know the consequences of the price and how to mitigate it a bit, hopefully that helps you on your Nagoriyuki journey. And otherwise, my friends, that is the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Guilty Gear.